Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of Mortal Kombat 2021 on HBO Max. And I enjoyed this movie. Even though it has some clunky kind of transitions and clunky kind of dialogue, I think it is still kind of safe to say that it is still put in within the realm of good video game adaptations because it fucking commits to doing Mortal Kombat shit. Now, the biggest kind of issue comes with like the fight scenes between mainly the people and like really CGI heavy people. But that's kind of the toss up you have to do and the calculation you gotta go with. But overall, I enjoyed this, and it definitely, if you're a fan of Mortal Kombat, you will definitely see a lot of good stuff in here, and it does a lot of references that I get some of them, but I'm not that deep into Mortal Kombat and its lore, so there's some things in there that I'll probably be like, oh, okay, I'll learn that something had a deeper kind of meaning or whatnot. So, the movie starts off actually fairly well. We are in 1617 Japan at this Hanzo dude's estate. And he's just going by, having a nice kind of family life. His wife's kind of like digging up stuff with like a kunai kind of knife thingy. And he tells his son to go check on his sister, who's in the house crying she's like a little baby. And because she is a little baby. Cute baby, too. But he goes to get more water, and suddenly, I don't know where, these guys start coming in. And it's like, holy shit. And we see this dude with ice powers, and that's pretty much Sub-Zero. And he does this kind of stuff. He wants to know where Hanzo is, flipping back and forth between Chinese and Japanese, mainly speaking more in Chinese, more than Japanese, because he wants to know where Hanzo is. Well, he pretty much kills the mother and the son, but at that point they have already kind of hidden the daughter away underneath some floorboards, and of course Hanzo pretty much gets up, does some kick-ass shit to take out the people involved. And this goes R-rated, so they don't skimp on the blood. But the thing is, it works better than this like one ninja assassin movie where the blood was just like so fake it was more comical. This works out in effect because, yeah, it goes bloody as shit, but it looks better than that. It's like, okay, that's kind of nasty, but it doesn't get, like, torture porn or, like, trying to completely and utterly make you puke gross out. Mortal Kombat's known for being bloody and gory, and it pretty much fits that realm pretty well. You know what I mean? It doesn't go too far in, like, one direction or too little in another direction, where, like, the other ones were PG-13. Well, he sees that his wife and son are frozen, and then we get a really cool fight scene between him and Behan. And I've seen this dude in, like, the Showtime show Warrior, I believe. And I'm like, yeah, glad to kind of see him doing some stuff. And they have a really nice fight scene, nice back and forth. Very brutal because Hanzo tries to, like, use the kunai to, like, attack him at one point. The dude stabs him down and drives it up. And I'm like, this dude's still able to fight and, like, crawl with, like, grunt missing, like, most of his stomach from that stab. But he's able to kind of, like, he's giving it pretty good. Now, granted, at this point, Sub-Zero's not going completely and utterly crazy with his ice powers, but he is still utilizing them very effectively and very tactically against Hanzo, and is able to pretty much get him in a dead position. And he does try and crawl because he does hear his daughter, but he dies. And then we see this dragon mark, the mark of Mortal Kombat that we learn later on in the movie. And it starts doing some like flamey thing, and his body disappears. And then the elder god Raiden pops up and be like, there's a baby in here. Takes the baby with him. Granted, I'm just kind of paraphrasing that, but he's like seeing what's going on, sees that like Hanzo's body for some reason just disappears. Like, okay, we kind of make a little bit more sense with that as the movie goes on, but this is very much a world-building kind of thing. Interestingly enough, we don't even really get the tournament in this movie, which is kind of odd, but we still have fights that go on tournament kind of style if that makes sense. We'll kind of get to that. But Raiden comes in, sees shit went down, finds a little baby, and like, alright, I'm gonna teleport with this baby, and whoosh. We then get to present day, and we see that this dude, Cole, is preparing for a fight. And I really like this actor, dude. I've seen him mainly in Into the Badlands, and I like his fighting and everything, and I don't mind his acting. It's just the content that he's given to go through pretty much isn't a lot. That's mainly because this falls the trap into, yes, Cole is mainly our audience point, and you kind of want more development on him. He does get some development. But the issue comes into the fact that this is, like, based on a fighting game with a lot of characters, so it falls in the ensemble trap of you got to pretty much divvy up your time as much as possible between a vast array of characters. So we see that he's doing his thing, pretty much in an MMA fight. His daughter's pretty much his ring man, trying to give him some pointers and everything, but he gets knocked out and he has to tap. Well, not knocked out, but he gets into a position that he has to tap out. And of course, his wife didn't want to see the fight, so they kind of go out afterwards. And while this is going on, we then go and we get some more kind of, for lack of a better word, info dump. We see that there's another realm than Earth, Outworld, and that Shang Tsung, the guy that's pretty much in charge there, their side has won the Mortal Kombat tournament 9 out of 10 times, and in order to take over the Earth realm, they need to beat them one last time in this, and they want to make it done. So he's pretty much sending assassins out to keep taking out Earth realm's champions, so that way they can take it over. And we see that he, of course, is sending mainly his minion Sub-Zero to kind of do that. So while Cole and his family are out pretty much getting food and everything, we see start snowing out of nowhere, and Sub-Zero's being like, yeah, I got my ice powers coming to kill some motherfuckers. Now, granted, I'm more in the emphasis on that. He's, of course, a cold-blooded assassin coming out to do cold-blooded assassin things. And, of course, we see him, like, doing some shit and everything. And before they had gone there, we see the character of Jax pretty much trying to figure out what's going on with him. Cole, of course, shows him the dragon tattoo, and it's like, alright, let's kind of see how this works. Sub-Zero's pretty much coming to kill their asses because they need to take out his bloodline because they're the only ones, because of this prophecy, that can stop them. Even though Sub-Zero had supposedly taken out the line because of the blood feud between his and Hanzo's clans or whatnot. We don't get enough details for that, but the thing is, there's so much shit spinning. This movie would have to be longer, and it's pretty much almost 2 hours as it is. So he's pretty much getting in, trying to use his ice powers to kill some shit. Jax is able to help get him, tells him to go to a certain place and to find Sonya Blade and do what they need to do. So he goes and he tries to fight Sub-Zero, and he gets a couple good hits in and kind of utilizes his military experience to be a badass. But Sub-Zero fucks his shit up and pretty much freezes his arms, breaks him, and like leaves him for dead. It's like, god damn. Cole is able to get to Blade's rendezvous place, leaving his family in kind of a safe spot. And she's pretty much in a weird kind of shack that's got a gnome, garden gnome. Why do I bring up the garden gnome? That becomes important later on, but not as important as you would really want it to believe. Well, he goes in, and she, of course, gives the info dump. Her and Jax have been researching the dragon tattoos and everything, seeing this whole tournament of Mortal Kombat, trying to figure out what's going on. And she's got a dude named Kano tied up because they would found one of the people with the dragon marks right as he killed him, and then the dragon mark transferred to him. He, of course, is trying to get Cole to unleash him because he's like, I'm like fucking sit down there and like, get me out of here. Cole, of course, is wary of his fucking ass. And we also get a line where he's like, are you sure this is real? They even spelled combat wrong. It's I don't mind it, but it's how it's like executed and how it's done. It's like, okay, I don't mind that. It's supposed to be kind of funny. It just landed wrong with me. I don't think it's horrendous, but I was like, okay. So they're trying to figure out what's going on, and of course, Sung has sent his assassins, and we get this lizard dude kind of going on and trying to kill him. I am not that well versed with the lizard dude, but he of course can be invisible and is pretty much trying to kill their asses, but they are able to free Kano, and they kind of tag team up together to kill the lizard dude. There are some funny hijinks where, of course, Sonya tries to throw the knife at the lizard, but of course it gets stuck in Kano's leg, and he's like, you do that on purpose. But Kano does, of course, one of the signature Mortal Kombat maneuvers where he, like, punches through and takes the thing's heart, and it's just like, yeah, motherfucker, and does that. So they know that Raiden is kind of connected to this whole Mortal Kombat thing because the Elder Gods are, of course, the ones that are running this and trying to make sure that everything is fair, even though Outworld seems to be pretty much assassinating most of Earth's defenders to pretty much tip it in their favor. And there's also other realms, because we also see one other realm, the Nether Realm, that's connected, of course, with Hanzo. So they're like, alright, we gotta find Raiden's temple because it's a holy site. And Kano's like, yeah, I kind of know where it's at. He was pretty much bullshitting it. He's like, yeah, I'll take you there for like 2-3 million. And Sonya's like, yeah, I'll do it. Cole's like, yeah, that much money? Fuck no, look at where I'm living. And they pretty much get on a plane. Cole, of course, gets pushed out by Kano because Kano must show to us that he is a dick. Now, I give them the props of showing and not telling. Kano shows himself off to be a complete and utter asshole. He owns it, and they show it multiple times. Not enough that it kind of like derails everything and you're like, I'm bored, I know he's an asshole. Not to the level of like Homelander drinking fucking milk and shit. Fucking shit. But they of course then start wandering around, and Kano's pretty much like, hey, yeah, why don't you fucking kill my ass and get this dragon tattoo so you might. She pretty much like whoops his ass a little bit, and he's like, she's like, fuck you, man. They keep walking off, and then suddenly Liu Kang pops out of nowhere and be like, hey, I'm Liu Kang, one of these like Shaolin dudes, and I got like fire powers and shit, and shows off his fire powers. Kano's like, oh shit, can I fucking do that? Yeah, I want to fire, yeah. Granted, he doesn't go complete like Beavis and Butthead, like fire, but he's very excited to be able to be like, can I do fireballs? So he of course leads him to Raiden's temple, pretty much giving him the lowdown that like him and his like cousin dude, like Kung Lao, they are the main ones that are pretty much Earth's defenders at this point, and that they are the ones that have like tapped into their arcana. That's why he can do fire, and Kung Lao can like utilize his sharp spinny hat of doom, which does get utilized, by the way. Raiden, of course, is disappointed that they only have 2 people with the dragon tattoo, and Sonya doesn't even have any, and Kano and Cole do not have access to their arcana. I understand that the arcana is supposed to like initiate special abilities into people. It's just not. I needed a little bit more, because we also see that Jax, having the dragon tattoo as well, has been brought in, and that they're trying to help him from healers from other realms as well, as they put like little mechanical ones. They're not the big ones because that's saved for later when he unlocks his arcana. Pretty much done to like emotional stressors and kind of stuff to kind of like get you into a position to like, fuck you, man. Very kind of similar to like Dragon Ball with like going Super Saiyan or whatnot. So they pretty much then go into kind of a training montage where Liu Kang and Kung Lao are pretty much trying to train them up to do their thing, while we get a little bit of backstory of them and how they kind of got their powers, how they kind of got their names. And the only one who gets it at first is Kano, and for some odd reason, he's able to get a laser eye. I thought it was like a robo eye or something, but his arcana is just, he just randomly has a laser in one eye because they pretty much pissed him off and was like calling him a fucking asshole who can't even fucking fight. That like, even though Cole doesn't have any arcana, he at least isn't like you. And then of course this then shifts to Kano pretty much trying to beat the shit out of Cole to unlock his arcana while Liu Kang watches, and he's not able to do it at this point. And Raiden's like, fuck it, go with your family. We had seen that Sung has come and be like, I want to kill you motherfuckers and get this fucking shit done with. And Raiden's like, that's against the rules, you motherfucking dirtbag, and told him to piss off while he put up like a lightning shield. Granted, I'm paraphrasing, but that's the kind of general gist. And Rain's like, all right, fine, whatever, go with your family. But the thing is, Sung is still trying to figure out how to kind of best utilize this and make sure that the tournament probably doesn't even really need to happen, which is a very big oversight, because evidently Raiden is the only one that's like trying to at least try and do somewhat of the rules, while Sung is doing his like wizard ass shit. So he pretty much gathers together this like dude with a hammer, dude with like some kind of hook stuff, and like a weird kind of Vader ass helmet, Cabal, who for some reason has some kind of backstory with Kano that just kind of pops up out of nowhere, because he is sent to kind of be like, yo, Kano, fuck take out this shield and we'll give you shit. And Kano's like, that's all you had to say. And fucking does it. And of course, Sung is gathering a lot of people, got like a heartbeat chick, Melina with the size and everything, and the weird kind of fucked up, like, demon kind of scrawly ass face, and Prince Goro, forearm motherfucker. So he starts going in, hambo jambo, and trying to fuck up what's going on. Kano, of course, shows, I am on the bad guy's side. But it's not really that surprising, because it falls very much within his character realm of being, I'm an asshole, eat me now. And so it's not like a big thing, but of course Jax and Sonya are pretty much kind of like fucked up a little bit, but this helps to get into a position where Jax is able to unlock his Arcana, and he gets big beefy arms that he can utilize to fight like a badass. Liu Kang and Kung Lao try and do what they need to. Harpy Lady, who is pretty much only utilized for like one of like the sickest fatalities of pretty much using Kung Lao's hat to kind of buzzsaw her shit in half. Which, by the way, usually I'm like, utilize a character as well as possible. That was as well as possible, and I'm like, that'll work. We pretty much get like a lot of interesting kind of fatalities and stuff like that. I'm like, and then that kind of links up with Cole, who's with his family, and of course the Prince Goro dude is sent after him, and he's able to awaken his Arcana, where he gets pretty much like a suit and kind of like, they're like kind of like baton kind of things, except one's kind of more sharp than the other, and he's able to like do some badass shit. Cuts off the dude's fucking hand, one of his hands, because he got 4, and slices him in the stomach, and his like guts spill out. I'm like, good effects there, but it was kind of cool to see his stuff, because it kind of followed the similar principles of Black Panther's suit, where in the MCU it could like absorb energy that is directed on. So like if I punched Black Panther's suit, he of course would be knocked back, but it would absorb that energy, and then he could like throw it back at me. Cole's kind of also operates around that same kind of thing, where he was getting pounded on and everything, but he was able to kind of like rack it back at that person as well. So it's like, oh, this is pretty kind of cool. So he's kind of all set up. His family's safety was kind of what initiated that. So of course Raiden figures that out, sends him in to kind of help what's going on and kind of get everybody out. But they get most of the people out except for Kung Lao, who kind of gets stuck, and Sung absorbs his soul and he dies. Well, I don't know if he's dead, but this dude has absorbed his soul, and he's able to, like, resurrect some motherfucker, so... Alright. Raiden has now brought in our core group of people into this void area to kind of figure out their next game plan. Cole is like, okay, what we need to do is we need to divide and conquer and then team up to take out Sub-Zero, because he is the biggest kind of problem that they've got at this moment. So they pretty much send Sonya after Kano, which works out in their favor. Jax goes after Hammer Dude. Liu Kang goes after Cabal, Darth Vader looking motherfucker. Cole kind of goes after Melina, and let's see, yeah. And that's how they kind of have their tournament that's not a tournament going on. And they like go into different kind of like arena kind of places that are evocative from the places in the video game, which I'm like, yeah, that's really kind of cool. I kind of like this whole thing, because now we're focusing on the fights and utilizing each other's kind of powers. Now, when I say that the CGI doesn't it's it only hurts in the development of the weight of the action going on. Mainly, you see that, in my opinion, with like Prince Goro and Cole's fight. When you've got more of a kind of person that you put in and that you can utilize effects in different kind of ways, that you can also still have that physicality, it still works. And this is where it really does work. Because Jax fucking starts racking on that dude and fucking smashes his head in. That was nice. Liu Kang is able to pretty much put the Cabal dude in a kind of like oil pit kind of place, and then unleashes his fire in like a dragon thing that goes down and fucking racks on the dude. It's like, yeah, that's pretty cool right there. Cole, of course, is having trouble with the Psy Lady, and Sonya is able to beat the irrelevant shit out of Kano because he is an arrogant prick, and she's able to use that against him and stabs him in his laser eye with a garden gnome, and then she becomes a defender champion of Earthrealm and is able to unlock her Arcana like that because you think it's teleported, helps Cole take out Melina, and that is that. Let's see, did I take out most of the people? Goro, Cabal, Fly Chick, Hammer Dude. And then we've got Sub-Zero. And the thing is, Sub-Zero pretty much kidnaps Cole's family and pretty much tries to fight him one-on-one. But as they're in the process of doing that, Raiden had given Hanzo's kunai to Cole, and he bleeds on it, and this, of course, summons Hanzo in his scorpion form, because he was then put into the nether realm, and he has, as he says during the fight, harnessed the powers of hell. And this is important because he is a motherfucker with the whole kind of like the kunai kind of thing with the chain and everything, saying the get over here and all that, and it works pretty well. Of course, you're like, oh, okay, they're doing this because this was in the game, and they do it well enough. I'm like, yeah. Because at first when I was looking at the trailer, I could be like, this is a little bit different. Not bad or whatnot, but it's like you got to kind of see it in the whole context of the movie. And I was like, all right. So we essentially have this multi-phased fight where we first started with Cole versus Sub-Zero. And of course, he has just recently unlocked his Arcana and doesn't completely have a handle on what Sub-Zero is capable of. But then it shifts to Scorpion fighting Sub-Zero, and that's pretty cool. We see them utilizing different kind of tactics and everything. We also see callbacks to the fight that they had in the beginning of the film. So this is one that I really like, because even though we've got a lot of ice things going on and powers being utilized, it's more in the effect that we need people actually fighting as well. So it balances out pretty well, and you still kind of get that visceral stuff going on. They get to a point where Cole is trying to like save his family, but of course Sub-Zero is like trying to go in there, stop that stuff, and they then focus on like fighting him double team style and are able to like take off his armor and severely wound him. He takes off his mask, and we see that Hanzo utilizes one of his signature moves of belching out fire and killing Sub-Zero that way. He got all crispy toasty fries. Like, oh shit. Of course, some of the ice starts melting. Cole's family is okay, and we see that Sung comes and be like, yeah, you beat my people, you beat my best champion, but this portal, next time I come, I'm gonna have me an army, bitch. And then flies off, and he's like, yeah, what? So now we've got our Earth Defenders in a more kind of even footing kind of state. They've all got their Arcanas unlocked. They have gone through a crucible. And the thing is, Rain's like, all right, we're good here, but we need to gather more Earth Defenders and get even more prepared for the actual tournament of Mortal Kombat. The dude that pretty much got Cole his fight was like, hey, you want to fight me more? And he's like, nah, I got to go to Hollywood. He's like, why? Okay. And then that sets up that, like, Johnny Cage, one of the big kind of prominent fighters in Mortal Kombat, is in Hollywood. So it seems like Cole is going out there to try and get Cage to fight for them. Well, fight with them in the tournament of Mortal Kombat. So, I overall enjoyed this movie. It's mainly your action one, and it does a lot of love and does show a lot of reverence for the video game. And that, I totally give it its props. Okay? Normally when you hear Oh, video game adaptation. You got that little tingle in the back of your head, and you're like, nee. But we've seen Detective Pikachu worked very well. I've heard very good things about Sonic. I still need to see that one, and I would definitely add this to that list. Granted, it does have its issues. The dialogue can sometimes be kind of weird, and delivery and execution of certain elements needed to kind of been worked on. But this was mainly that building process to get people to, I think, maybe be like, here's the world of Mortal Kombat, kind of gauge people's interest and be like, hey, you kind of want to see more? I'm like, yeah. And it was interesting that we essentially got a movie that had a tournament that wasn't the tournament. And they, interestingly enough, I kind of like that approach. It's interesting that Sung was pretty much trying to stop Mortal Kombat before it was going on and was sending assassins, but they were able, our group of heroes was able to get into a position where they essentially did their own kind of mini tournament to stop them from pretty much breaking the rules. Wasn't really expecting that, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, because I'm like, isn't Mortal Kombat happening? This dude's trying to, like, stop this. Isn't somebody going to kind of, like, get it to tournament style? I was like, oh, okay, this is the first kind of thing. So, hopefully, it works out enough that they're able to do, like, another one. I've heard that they would potentially have this as a trilogy, like a pre-tournament as this movie, the actual tournament in the next movie, and the last one would be like an after tournament. I'm like, okay, just balance out your characters as much as you need to put as much development time into the good ones as possible that you really need for whatever story you're telling. That's my only kind of issue. This is a very big ensemble, and we just know that Sung wants to take over Earth. And that's not bad, but we kind of want some more motivations of why. It's like, okay, that's a decent motivation. What kind of else do you want or need from that? And then what other kind of realms are there? Because there's Earthrealm, there's Outworld, and then there's the Nether Realm that we see, the kind of hell dimension that Hanzo's from. Well, Hanzo was put into and then came back from. So yeah. If you've got an HBO subscription, I would definitely recommend, if you are into fighting movies and action movies, to definitely give this a shot. It's like, oh, okay, about 2 hours, cool. If you feel safe enough to go to the movie theaters and you're really into it, that's your decision. If you're really into Mortal Kombat and a real Mortal Kombat fan, you'll definitely enjoy this movie, okay? Bar none. This was made for Mortal Kombat fans, and I think you will definitely be happy with that and be like, yeah, there you go. So those are my opinions on the movie. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.